Good morning, everyone. So, today we will discuss the dynamic of local and global culture. The global flows of culture tend to move more easily around the globe than ever before, especially through non-materials digital form. So as you can still remember, when Magellan arrived here in the Philippines, Magellan brought us the Catholicism. So as you can see, may mga person or may mga on history way back, may mga taong nagdala ng Katolisismo at pagiging Muslim o born again or Kristiyano all around the globe. But nung mga traditional way on how they brought it, medyo nahihirapan sila. It is because wala namang internet connection noon. Wala namang eroplano noon na pwede nilang masakyan na tipong 1 to 2 days nandito na sila sa Pilipinas or 1 to 2 days nandun na sila sa France or ibang country, but they have to ride a boat. At matagal-tagal ang biyahe. It is because marami silang dala-dala. Dala-dala in the sense na may iba dala-dala ang cross, may iba ang Quran na Bible, at ang iba naman ay kung anong pwedeng makahelp na o makatulong sa kanila na i-brought or ipakilala ang isang culture in regards of religion or other forms of tradition sa isang bagay. Okay, now madali na lang. The information, the cultures, the tradition, just one click away. Or may mga bagay na nakikita na sa internet. Now, we have three perspectives on global cultural flows. We have the cultural differentialism. We will first tackle the cultural differentialism. So, cultural differentialism defines culture as clearly bound entity with a specific geological location. Alright, when we talk about cultural differentialism, ito yung pagkakaiba. Okay? Let's, for example, Mindanao, known as Muslim country, right? Pero sa Mindanao, meron namang nakahalo na Katoliko, but ang pananaw ng ibang tao, when we talk about Mindanao, mas marami ang mga Muslim doon. So, nagdi-differentiate then ang mga culture and tradition in regard sa attire, sa pananamit, sa paniniwala, at sa mga libro or mga techniques na ginagamit. Alright, ma-identify naman natin na yung isang tao ay, let's talk about sa tribe naman. Ma-identify din natin na ang isang tao is Badyaw. The way siya magsalita, the way siya manamit, at kung ano-ano ang pwede lang nilang kakainin. Okay, this is just for example only, okay? At ma-identify din natin ang differentialism through what we call language, through the movement of body. Okay, for example, ang mga Bisaya versus Kuyonon. Ang mga Bisaya, mabilis silang magsalita. While ang Kuyonon, mabilis din silang magsalita. They are both the same. But, iba-iba ang kanilang intonation. The way they deliver the language, iba-iba. So, malalaman mo, you identify it through the action, through the language, and through the tradition itself. Okay? Madali lang, diba? Now, second, the diverse cultures clearly have a distinction which allows observer to identify a specific component of a culture from another. Example. Okay, this one is it's very easy because you have to identify or madali lang kung oobserbahan mo ng maayos, madali mo lang siyang ma-identify. Example here is the French culture or the Chinese culture. Okay, each is distinct from one another. So, may palatandaan. If Chinese ang kausap mo, malamang ang tono ng pananalita o the way sila mag-speak ng kanilang language, ma-identify mo kagad, ito Chinese. Kasi nag-i-incheck siya sa akin eh. Or the way din siya mag-English sa akin, it sounds like Chinese. And then when we talk about French culture, the way they deliver their speech or their sentence or their message, ma-identify mo kagad, this one is French. Kasi medyo hindi ko masyadong naiintindihan. Oo nga, kasi hindi naman ako French, Pilipino ako. Okay? There are certain distinction from one another, or what we call uniqueness in everybody. Alright, so let's move on here. I have here some images. As you can see, number 1 talaga, no, ang pananamit. Paniniwala, pananampalataya, iba-iba. But we have only one God, one Allah, and whatever natawag ninyo sa poong may kapal sa taas. As you can see, pananamit, of course, iba-iba din yung mga languages na ginagamit nila, and kanilang mga tradition. That is what we call cultural differentialism. Alright, next, we'll talk about the cultural hybridization. It is a process by which a cultural element blends into another culture by modifying the elements to fit cultural norms. So the cultural hybridization is the mixing of culture and the integration of the global and the local land to unique combination. So here, the development of new culture by merging 2 or more than 2 different cultures through a period of contact and interaction. So, ang perfect example nito is yourself, of course. As, kunyari, ako, laking Davao ako, Davawenya. Of course, my language is Bisaya, Cebu, Bisaya. Now, I am here in Palawan for almost 7 years. 8 years. 8 years then. I already adopt the language of Cuyonon and Agotaynon. Okay? So, all throughout the period of time, of interaction within another people, of the language and the tradition, so I myself, meron nang nangyayaring cultural hybridization. Now, the tradition of being Bisaya is now nahaluan na ng ibang lahi. Ibang lahi na kasi yung Cuyonon eh. Ibang lahi na rin yung Agotaynon. So, all throughout the period of here, na nandito ako sa Palawan, nahahaluan na yung language ko. Na marunong na akong magbisaya, marunong na akong mag-Cuyonon, marunong akong mag-Agotaynon. So, that is the perfect example of cultural hybridization. Another example for this, cultural hybridization, is when you are a Christian and then you have a best friend na Muslim. So, all throughout na pagsasama ninyo, pag i-interact ninyo, the connection is already there. Especially when na-a-adapt mo yung the way din siya manamit, at lalong-lalo na nahihila ka niya na tipong, magsimba tayo. O sige, magsimba tayo sa Muslim. Magsimba ka rin sa akin sa Kristiyano. Parang you are already exchanging information, tradition, etc. etc. Okay? Na inside sa inyong culture. Alright. Doon nagsisimula ang cultural hybridization. So, cultural hybridization, it is a universal process which is speeded up through interaction among societies. So, sabi ko nga, it is the interaction, the connection among the societies. Alright. Next, the last one is the cultural convergence. Cultural convergence is the theory that 2 cultures will be more and more like each other as their interaction increases. Alright, the cultural convergence is, sa theory of globalization, is homogeneity approach in globalization. It is the tendency of group members to become more alike over time. This is what's known in business terms as company's culture. So, pinapasok dito si business, especially kung ang boss ninyo ay tipong, for example, may ganitong culture. Ang kultura niya is meron kayong holiday inside the business sector or sa own company ninyo na kailangan may holiday tayo for rest day and for prayer at saka whatever man ang paniniwala ng boss. So kayo as employee, of course you have to obey it because you are the employee, not the boss. You have to obey it. Katagalan, nagiging tradisyon nyo na. So parang hindi naman kayo pareho na kayo ng paniniwala at nagiging tradisyon. You cope up the belief of what they already taught to you. So, yun yung nako-cope up. Basically, the more that cultures interact, the more that their values, ideologies, behaviors, arts, and custom will start to reflect each other. So, for example of this one, the English language is a prime example of cultural convergence on a global scale. English has become the main language of communication for people around the world. At the same time, teaching English as a tongue language in non-English speaking countries has become a study abroad and career options for Americans. Okay, a perfect example for this cultural convergence is the English language, because we all know that English language is the medium language for all, or what we call the universal language for all. So, pag ikaw Bisaya at may kausap kang taga-ibang bansa, especially kung may kausap ka, boss mo ba ang boss mo is taga-ibang bansa, of course, the universal language that you will use is the English para magkakaintindihan. So, you as an employee speak in English, the boss speak in English. It is very good example of cultural convergence because you two are alike in regards to the language itself. Alright? So, nagkakaintindihan? Alright. If nagkakaintindihan, I hope you learned something from me today. I hope you stay safe and stay well, everyone. On our next discussion, I'll see you around. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.